Good morning, folks. Today I'm going to show you how to fill your pots quickly and efficiently and to get the experiment started as soon as possible, because that's literally what we want. I'm myself working with these pots. They've got a bit of an odd shape, so I just wanted to show you that the same thing works with a different range of sizes and shapes of pots. So the most important thing about this is that you have a proper working setup, so that you have a good workflow, that you can work like basically from one side to the other. I will have my empty pots on this side, fill them, put the filled pots on that side, and what I'm actually doing is I first fill them, then put the seeds in, and then sprinkle a bit more soil on top. Right, let's get started. So, what you do, take the pot, fill it loosely with soil until it's filled to the top, stamp it on once, and what you can see is that the soil has settled quite a bit. So this is what would, if you wouldn't stamp it on, this is what would happen the first couple of times you water them from the top. The soil would settle, and then you have like that gap in your pot. That's what you don't want. That's why you stuff it up once or twice. And for me, I want my potatoes to be sown at like about 5 centimeters deep, 3 to 5 centimeters deep. So I'm not using a meter for that. I'm using my fingers. My fingers won't grow, and all I want is that they have about the same depth, all of them. So I'll check, that's a bit more. So I'll fill the pots up to like my fingers reach from here, and that's about the height I want the potatoes to be dropped in there later. So that's really all there is. But to show you, this also works obviously with this size of pot. It's a bit actually, it's quicker and easier when the opening of the pot is a bit bigger. Same thing, stamp it on. So this doesn't settle as much because it's not like as loose if you shove it in. But still, it gives you, for this one, I would probably say it gives you a nice edge so that you can fill in the water a bit better when you water the plants. So you might want to keep it on that height and not refill it. But that's up to you, really. Same goes for big pots. Might want to fill it with your hands a bit, stamp it on, refill a bit. If you're repotting plants, you obviously can't fill a whole pot like this. You just put in a little bit. And now I want to plant up for bulking them and growing some more potatoes. What I do is I disturb the root zone a little, shake it up, and then this goes into a pot. And we want to sit it nice in the middle of everything, so it can spread its roots on all sides. Just tuck it in, like a baby in the bed. Fill some more soil around it, so you hold the plant so it stays where it's supposed to be, tuck it in, and since this one is still a bit very wobbly, gets its stick back. And again, we want to make sure that we've got a bit of an edge here, so we can properly water them later on. So this edge is really important when you start watering your plants, because what you want is you want to have, especially in the big pots, you want a decent amount of water to get into your plant. And you can either do that by having them in a tray and keeping some water on the bottom of it so that the water can be soaked up by the capillary forces and by the plant itself when the roots have grown all the way down. But you can also do that if you just water them from the top and have that edge. You can water them so that there's some water stood on the top, and then it's slowly sinking down into the rest of the pot. To do so, you just need that edge, because otherwise, if you fill your pot all the way to the top, the water will just run off and flow over to the sides, and you don't get enough water into the pot and into the soil to keep the whole soil moist. So, for a seed tray, same thing applies. We need some very loose soil. Fill the tray loosely, and again scratch some of the top to make sure you've got that. Settle it a little bit. I've got some lettuce seeds here. They're relatively easy to spread and sow. Yeah. If you have very small seeds, you can mix them with sand, then it's a bit easier to spread them out. And now, to cover the seeds, I would put some of the soil into a sieve and just sieve over . Right, and again. And most important, don't forget the label, so you know what you actually planted. Okay, I hope this was useful to those of you who haven't done that much work on plants, or maybe those that haven't potted that many plants. If you've done this before, then I'm happy for you to comment and tell us how you approach that. Maybe you have some ideas how I can improve my method. I'm always happy for some new input, so feel free to comment. That's me for today. I'll see you again tomorrow, and keep on smiling.